Dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered.
Hello, South Africa, and welcome to day 4 of our lockdown, and welcome to Duck and Covered. I'm one of your hosts, Grant Towers, and we also have Matt and Doug. Say hi, guys.
Hello. Welcome
now,
back.
For the tens of people that have been following up our podcast, you'll do something different tonight. We don't have a special guest on tonight. Tonight it's just the three of us chatting about our experience of lockdown so far and how things have been going. But before we get to that, Doug, what is the news?
Latest figures. In the past 24 hours, an extra 19,800 new cases. So we are now at 743,000 cases. We're close to 1 million. Another 250,000, we'll have 1 million cases. Let's say in terms of new deaths in the last 24 hours, 1,285, which is more than South Africa has in total cases. We're on 1,280, which, if you remember yesterday, we were discussing how fantastic it was that only 17 new cases happened. Well, 93 in the last 24 hours, up to yesterday, that is. We don't have the latest figures. And unfortunately, in South Africa, we've had one more person pass away from this horrible virus, a 74-year-old. So that brings South Africa's total death count to 2. Okay. Whereas, in the rest of the world, 1,285 new deaths. We were on the first episode discussing what the percentages were, and it was at 4.33% or something. That number is now up to 4.76. So, slowly notching. In other news, a British moron, she is a moron, has been arrested. She thought it would be funny to film herself saying, "I have coronavirus," and then coughing on produce in a store, resulting in several thousand rands worth of food being thrown away.
What?
Don't ask. She has been arrested. She said she thought it would be a funny prank. Yes, well, it won't be so funny, and she is either in jail, which I don't think is fair. I think British jail is better than she deserves. She should be forced to pay back the cost of the food and be forced to live in one of their old age homes, which I hear are worse than their jails. Anyway, other news: South African Airways has been tasked with mercy flights, which is effectively they're prepping to evac foreigners out of South Africa. So they will be flying again, taking people who are foreign nationals back to their home countries. The first case of coronavirus in South Africa, this probably should have been the top story, in a township in South Africa, has been reported. That's in Khayelitsha in the Western Cape. And with the high population density in such places, I think we can probably expect more to follow. But we will keep an eye on that. That's going to be quite serious. And then for the arts, this figure came out today, and it's quite astonishing. The Joburg Ballet has had to cancel several shows, as you might imagine, during this period. And they're estimating the cost of those cancellations at upwards of R1 million to the Joburg Ballet Company. When this on-stage theatrics, ballet, etc. The profit margins are so small anyway. To lose R1 million because of this. It could be. Let's hope not, but let's hope there's some support from them. But it's the nail in the head of the Joburg Ballet, as it were. But we'll hold thumbs that that's not the case. And then the final story, for those people who love the royals out there, a person, one of Prince Charles's press people, came out today saying that he is recovered. He's feeling a lot better. And so he is, he's doing well, and he's no longer required to self-isolate. So he's recovered from the virus. But he's not the only one. In Italy, war-ravaged Italy, as it were, the 95-year-old woman I was talking about the other day has been eclipsed. A 101-year-old man who was born during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic has now recovered from COVID-19 and was released from hospital. So that's some good news. And he now holds the record for the oldest person to recover from COVID-19, 101.
Oh, good for him.
That's it for the news.
2 plagues. Yeah.
So
Big ups on it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I mean, if you're going to be in plagues, you might as well do it properly.
Yeah, exactly. Geez, 101. I don't want to live that long, to be honest. Like,
Hey, the way I see it, as long as you're healthy.
Do you remember those radio ads that came out a while ago? I think it was Sunlam or someone who had that kid speaking, and it's like, scientists have projected that
yes.
the person who's going to live to 200 has already been born. And I was like, Jesus Christ. What?
Yeah. 200. Like, I'll die of boredom rather than anything else. I think it's Alan Gray Investments, I think, or something like that.
One of those, but they're wrong because we're going to blow ourselves up with nuclear fire before then, so it'll be fine.
Well, apparently it's going to be biochemical if the last, 2 months or anything to go by.
Well, I saw
so much more MMA I want to watch.
I saw a tweet today, and it said, "Come on, guys! You just know that the Americans are going to make a film about this COVID-19 situation.
They will.
It's going to be where they cure the planet, and it's going to be Dwayne the Rock Johnson as a super scientist who finds the cure, and for some reason also has to fight terrorists at the same time."
Oh gosh. My Corona.
I will say the funniest thing, and they could call it that, but the funniest thing for me is that I heard this idea for this movie, and I was like, hell, I'd watch that.
Okay, but fine. All right, you'd watch that. But have you watched any of the Sharknadoes?
No, but they did not have Dwayne the Rock Johnson in them.
I've watched the Sharknado, and it was glorious. It was.
Okay, guys. Cheers. I remember seeing meme of like, I think you don't want to. If you're too shy to share your idea in a meeting because you think it's going to come off as stupid, just remember somebody said, let's make a film about tornadoes and sharks.
Well, I saw that, but at the same time, I'm sitting there with the Snakes on a Plane with Samuel L. Jackson. That entire film came about because of an idea that somebody shared on the internet.
Oh gosh.
I mean, and people were talking about it, and they said we should have Samuel in it. And if the story is true, then Samuel said, yes, I'll do it, but only if you call it Snakes on a Plane. And there you go, Snakes on a Plane.
I'm tired of snakes on a plane. That's also. Yeah,
those were some terrible Samuel L. Jackson impersonations. I'm just saying, if he used to watch this, I don't think he'd be particularly impressed with us right now.
But just in case he does, if he does watch this, here's an invite out to him that if he would like to come on and talk to discuss how terrible your impressions are, he is welcome. He's invited. Please feel free to send us.
Samuel L. Jackson, you are more than welcome. Please.
I think Grant might cream himself, but
yeah, he would have to put up with about 5 minutes of us just like staring at him. Trying to actually understand that we are actually talking to Samuel L. Jackson. on our little show here in our little country.
He'd be talking, we'd probably be nodding with our mouths open.
Yeah, yeah. And then when
Yeah.
he finishes, it'd be like, and the Oscar goes to
Well, indeed.
this guy over here. But I mean, speaking of like movies that started as internet ideas, I was scrolling through Netflix the other day, and I saw that Slender Man has gone to full production and is
Oh,
a
God.
movie you can watch on Netflix.
Oh wow.
I'm actually quite interested by that, because I mean, for our listeners, those who are not geeks, there was a competition or just like just for interest's sake thing that was run on, I think probably Reddit or 4chan or something a few years ago, like 5 or 6 or even 10 years ago. It could be. What is time? But anyway, it was this challenge to create a terrifying character in a game. I think I could be speaking under correction. If anyone wants to correct me, they're welcome. And basically, they made this indie game called Slender Man, where you sort of just amble throughout the woods, and it's very eerie and everything. And next minute, this tall, gangly figure, but I mean like 10 feet tall and like super skinny and like really weird proportions, will like show up, and it's all about the jump scare, and you have to sort of evade him before Slender Man gets you. And I mean, it was a very low grade game, but it gained a lot of popularity because it was very, the jump scares were quite legit. The whole recipe just worked. And then watching that go from a concept on paper that was spoken about on the internet, someone made an indie game, and now it's gone all the way to Netflix. It's crazy to see how some ideas can just come to fruition.
Well, I remember seeing a few of these Slenderman challenges on YouTube, where people set up kind of Slenderman puppets next to in parks next to tree areas, and then people would be walking their dog or something. The next thing, the character puppet would drop down from the trees in front of people, and they just run. You just hope that they're not walking a Yorkie, because then it goes bouncing along behind them as they drag this poor creature away.
I mean but it is kind of interesting though, because I didn't know that origin story of Slender Man. I kind of missed out on the whole craze. I just picked up on it being something that was like the new horror fad amongst teenagers or whatever. That just made me feel old. Talking about the teenagers, but
and their TikTok videos,
their TikTokies of their slender people. But
guy, Slenderman is our generation.
Yeah,
you must start.
Okay, shit.
I mean,
I've just exposed myself as being way behind.
I mean, the younger generation. To the younger generation, it's just a movie. They don't know about the game.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
Look, just be happy that I figured out how to make
Marvel
Zoom
movies.
work. Okay, like let's not get ahead of ourselves. But going back to the whole thing of content creation and everything, it does feel like it's a lot more accessible these days, doesn't it? It's like you have an idea. It feels like you can get it out there a lot easier than, the old cliche was like, oh, I've got this screenplay. Won't you read my screenplay? I'll suck your dick for screenplay.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, you just said that. You just said that.
This was when Matt was a teenager. He talking from experience there.
I have a past. I've done things that I'm not proud
I was just like, why didn't the Catholic priest like me? But yeah, it's crazy. Like I want to know what the capabilities of. Gosh, now I'm speaking like it's an archaeological find. But I want to download this TikTok and see what this TikTok does. Because honestly, the videos I've seen that have come from it, like the editing is amazing. It has to be easy to use.
Well, it's I hear that they've got a lot of pretty cool things, but you must also take into account that I think got a maximum time limit of 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So you can to put in quite a few filters and edits and that sort of thing, but you've got 30 seconds in which to get your message across.
Yeah.
So
okay,
if you can get a scene done in 30 seconds, then you can film like 200 of them and put them all together and make a movie. But I'm not sure whether you can download your own videos. Yeah.
Okay, I'm downloading TikTok now, so I will report back to you.
You are downloading the TikTok.
I am downloading the TikTok.
This is very exciting.
Okay, well, for the next episode, keep an eye out for Matt's TikTok.
Yeah.
I dare you. I don't know what I'm going to dare you, but gosh, please. I want to see Matt's TikToks. Carson better be in there, and Nala better be in there as well.
I'm sure there will be ample space. They will probably actually be the only things on my TikTok.
We're all quarantined.
Yeah. Well, that too. But I mean, I get chased out of the room every time I try and record my wife at the moment. She's got she's got this circular trampoline, and for like exercise, she's watching YouTube videos of trampoline exercise, and it's
like Zumba stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty hilarious. But I have yet to actually get a proper video of this happening.
And if you do, she will probably throw something at you.
I won't be back for the next video.
Yeah. You'll be like, it was worth it.
Anyway, guys, I think that we're kind of about to run out of time. So does anybody have anything specific they want to say?
Aubergine.
Aubergine. All right. That's one of the vegetables that you can cook in the recipe on the page.
Yes. I saw that.
There you go.
That recipe is pretty cool.
Matt?
No one likes aubergines, Grant. No one.
Okay.
Oh. WhatsApp would disagree. WhatsApp loves an aubergine.
On that bombshell, cheers, everybody.
Say goodnight, everybody. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
The turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered.
He did what we all must learn to do. You
and you
and you
and you, duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing.